Hello, welcome to another week of Children's Sunday School at Montezuma Church of the Brethren. We're so glad you're joining us for these videos with our Bible stories. We wish we could be together, and maybe someday soon we will be. Today we have a story about a family feud, which is when a family disagrees with each other and can't get along. If you have a cooking pot somewhere close, you can stop the video now, go get your cooking pot, and every time that I talk about food during the story, you can put some pretend food into your pot. So if you want to take a moment and go do that at this time. The story I'm going to tell you today is about Esau and Jacob. Esau and Jacob are twins. You know, we have two twin boys in our church, Nathan and Noah Smith. Some twins look a whole lot alike and other twins do not. You know, for example, Nathan and Noah are not identical twins. Esau and Jacob that we're going to talk about today were also not identical twins. They were twins. They were born at the same time to the same parents, but they did not look exactly alike. First of all, their father Isaac was the son of Abraham and Sarah. We talked about Abraham and Sarah a couple weeks ago. He married Rebekah and they had twin boys. When Rebekah, their mother, gave birth, the first baby was covered with red hair, so he was named Esau. The second baby grabbed onto his brother's heel, the end of his foot, and so they named him Jacob. When the boys grew up, Esau became a skilled hunter. Jacob was a shepherd, so he took care of the sheep. Isaac loved Esau because he enjoyed eating the meat that Esau got when he was hunting, but Rebekah loved Jacob. So the father loved Esau and the mother loved Jacob. One day, Jacob was cooking some stew in a pot when Esau came home hungry and said, "I'm starving to death. Give me some of that red stew right now." And that's how Esau got the name Edom. Jacob replied, "Sell me your rights as the firstborn son." See, Esau was born first, and he was considered the birthright son, and he would get double the inheritance. He would get double the amount of money and cows and goats and sheep and land that Jacob would, and he would become the family leader after his father died. So the brother Esau said, "I'm about to die. What good will those birthrights do me?" So Esau sold his birthright to his brother for some bread and lentil stew that Jacob was cooking. After Isaac the father had become old and almost blind, he called in his firstborn son Esau, who asked him, "Father, what can I do for you?" And Isaac replied, "I am old and might die at any time. So take your bow and arrows, then go out in the fields and kill a wild animal. Cook some of that tasty food that I love so much and bring it to me. I want to eat it once more and give you my blessing before I die." But now Rebekah, the mother, wanted Jacob to have the blessing, not Esau. She told Jacob to bring some goats so she could make the tasty food that Isaac the father loved. Jacob could take the food to his father and get the blessing. Jacob wasn't real sure that was a good idea because he was going to be tricking his father. His skin was smooth and his brother's skin was really hairy. And wouldn't his father know the difference between his sons? But Rebekah, the mother, insisted. She told Jacob to put on Esau's clothes so that it would smell like Esau, and she put animal skins on his arms to make them hairy like Esau's. Rebekah made the food, and Jacob took it to his father. So the father Isaac told him, "Serve me the wild meat, and I can give you my blessing," because he thought it was Esau. Jacob gave him some meat, and he ate it. He also gave him some wine, and he drank it. Then Isaac the father said, "Son, come over here and kiss me." Isaac felt the hair on Jacob's arms, and he smelled the scent of his clothes. Believing that Jacob was Esau, he blessed him. Jacob left his father's tent. Just then Esau came back from hunting. He cooked up the tasty food from the wild animal that he had killed. He brought it to his father and said, "Father, please sit up and eat the meat I have brought you so you can give me your blessing." "Who are you?" Isaac asked. "I am Esau, your firstborn son." Isaac the father started trembling and said, "Then who brought me some wild meat right before you came in? I ate it and gave him a blessing that cannot be taken back." Esau cried loudly and begged, "Father, give me a blessing too." Isaac the father answered, "Your brother tricked me and stole your blessing. So Jacob had tricked his brother and his father. Have you or someone else ever played a mean trick on someone? That's not usually a good thing. Esau really was unhappy with Jacob and was really, really mad at him for stealing his blessing. He was so angry that he planned to kill Jacob. And when Rebekah the mother heard this, she told Jacob to run away and stay with her brother Laban. So Jacob left right away and stayed with his uncle Laban for 20 years. He got married and became very rich, but he didn't see his family for 20 years. After 20 years, Jacob decided he wanted to go home. He sat up with his family and his entire household. Then he heard that Esau was coming toward him with 400 men. Was Esau going to kill Jacob? Jacob was so frightened that he divided his people, his sheep, his cattle, and his camels into two groups. He thought, if Esau attacks one group, perhaps the other can escape. Jacob set up camp and he prayed that God would keep him safe. After Jacob had spent the night there, he chose some animals as gifts for Esau because he was sorry for what he had done. He chose 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 female sheep and 20 male sheep, 30 female camels with their young baby camels, 40 cows and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. Jacob sent the animals ahead with his servants to give to Esau. Then he saw Esau with the 400 men. Jacob went ahead of his family by himself, and he bowed 7 times in front of Esau because he was so sorry for what he had done 20 years ago. But Esau ran to meet him and hugged him. They cried together. Then they went their separate ways in peace. So even though they had a fight and they feuded with each other and they were angry with each other and they disagreed, they made peace after their fight. So we can make peace with people that we've argued with and disagree with too. Thank you very much for joining me this week, and maybe you can make some tasty stew with your family. We'll see you next week. Thank you.